When was the mechanical lien filed by whom?
I believe it was filed by Ileana Block and Brick, and I don't recall when that was.
When did you become aware of a lien placed on the property by one of the subcontractors?
I believe I heard it through Mr. Plank. I'm assuming he got that information from the bank.
I'll check that as a non-responsive. I'll sustain your disregard the last part of that answer. What is the date you notified Fifth Third of the lien? This lien?
I didn't know the lien. I think when I heard it, I had heard it from Fifth Third knew they had gotten a lien.
Are you legally allowed, under the terms of your seal of notary, to notarize blank documents?
The way that you see that document that's stamped but not signed, Mr. Plank just sat at a large, almost homemade desk, and then I had a spot next to him, and that's when we had to start turning in, I believe it was 7 sworn statements, one for the site work for each building and a total. And as we would pass them, instead of passing them to him and then passing them back, I would stamp them and I would slide them right over to him, which was no farther than from here to that computer, and then he would sign them. Yes, it was incorrect, but it's not like it was, I didn't witness him signing it. And when you'll see the ones that he didn't sign would be ones that I had stamped, and when he got to it and looked at it, there was something there he didn't like, so he didn't sign it.
As a general contractor, how did you know what and how much to build if you never read the construction loan agreement?
As the contractor, the loan agreement is between the owner. I just work for whoever the owner is going to be. I don't know what their deal is with the bank or how they've got it separated. I know how much I have to work with and how much I have to build with that.
Plank's testimony, it was stated you were a consultant taking no salary. How did you pay your bills?
I was working for Hawk Enterprises at the time, but if he had questions and he called me in the evenings or the weekends, I would come in and help him.
That answers the next. From where did you get your salary during the project?
Working for Hawk Enterprises.
For draw number 7, why wasn't it questioned about the total contract, $6,129,762.58 instead of the $9.4 million? Why was it signed if it was not correct? Shouldn't the call to the bank be in order?
I think you've seen what happened when we tried to get a hold of the bank. It delays things even further. And I was responsible to all those subcontractors that were extended out hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I would receive daily calls from them. And I had to do something to get these individuals paid. It was money they earned, work they did, product they paid for.
How were dealings made between City Center and Rex Construction without a contract?
I'm not sure what the contract was. All that took place before I came on. But I do know that on that site, there had to be cleared off about 1.5 feet of excellent black dirt over 15 acres. So that ended up being, as you can imagine, quite a large amount of dirt. That was all sold off, and I know Mr. Plank used a lot of that money to pay some of the site work that was being done.
Why didn't City Center do more to save this project?
I believe we did everything we could. We were constantly trying to be in contact with the bank. We made every change they asked us to make. Did jump through every hoop we could possibly jump through. I don't really see what else we could have done.
How were you hired?
I was hired by Mr. Plank. He had heard of my reputation working for golf for all those years in this area, and he had wanted to start a masonry company. So he had asked me if I would be interested in working with him to upstart his new company. So he had hired me, and away we went.
Relationship to Mr. Plank?
I have none.
The City Center or Hawk Inc. or Hawk Enterprises have an accountant or accounting firm?
I believe Hawk Enterprises does. Hawk Inc. didn't at the time. Mary seemed sufficient, the work that we were doing. We didn't seem to be struggling in any way. Just a little extra work for everybody.
Was any subcontractor under budget?
Well, we never really got far enough to complete any of the project to really see how much anybody would have been under budget.
Did you ever meet with Ticor Company, title company Ticor, as instructed by Joanne from Fifth Third Bank?
The only thing that we were to do with Ticor is when we were told that Fifth Third had funded it, then we would call Ticor and set up a time for them where we could come in and sign it and get our check. And then all the other subcontractors would have to, we would get ours, I'd go back, I'd call all the contractors and tell them their money is ready. They would have to take their lien waiver to Ticor, give it to Ticor in order to get their check. So when we had nothing to do with any subcontractor's money, they had to go drop their own waivers off and get their own checks. Mr. Plank wanted it that way so that there was never any confusion about you got some of my money, you kept some of his money, this way it's all above board.
Does block foundation and vertical construction have the same meaning? If not, what's the difference?
In my construction experience, it's the same.
If Mary did clerical data entry into the Excel spreadsheets to prepare the sworn, who verified the accuracy of the entry of the invoices before you signed off?
I guess it was just looked at when it was all said and done, and you knew what the bottom line was that you were asking for that draw request. So as long as that bottom line was the same after she entered all those numbers in there, then quite naturally it had to have been the same.
Can you tell us who handled the accounting practices of the business, both Hawk LLC and City Center?
Mr. Plank.
Okay. Collins?
Yes, Your Honor. You say, once you submitted it to Mary, as long as the bottom line was the same. How would you know what the bottom line was because you hadn't computed it yet?
The amount asked for, I have a calculator on my desk. I added up the invoices.
Oh, so you did do some calculation before you gave it to Mary.
Okay, yes, I did.
I thought you just handed the invoices to Mary and let her do it. Is that all right?
Apparently I would sometimes use the calculator and I would add them up to see where we were.
Well, based upon your testimony, every time you did that, correct?
Sure, every time I did that.
Isn't Steiger, Ruth, and Schumann and Musker do the financial documents as the account for Hawk Enterprises and Hawk Inc. and City Center?
I don't know that.
See, you're not sure what else you could have done, that you jumped basically through every hoop, correct?
As far as I'm concerned, yes.
Well, one thing you could have done, or City Center could have done, was provide year-to-date financial documents, correct?
I was never asked for those.
No, I understand, but when you say every hoop, you mean every hoop, right?
That I'm aware of, yes.
Okay, you're not saying you did everything that was required. You're just saying you did what you knew of, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't know of everything, did you?
No, I did not.
So there may be several things that didn't get done that you're just not aware of.
It's possible, yes.
And then finally, In regards to the mechanics lien, I think it was filed in May of 2006, recorded with the recorder.
Okay.
Do you dispute that?
I would have no reason to dispute it.
It was attached to the complaint, I think, filed by IB&B, wasn't it?
I don't know.
And that complaint was filed in September 2006, correct?
I'm going to have to believe you. I don't see it.
So when this mechanics lien was filed, Fifth Third funded a May draw and a July draw after that, didn't they?
If those dates are correct, yes.
Then why weren't they paid?
I don't know what their lien was for, sir.
Did you notify Fifth Third Bank that a lien had been filed?
I don't believe I did.
Did anyone from City Center notify the bank that a lien had been filed?
I don't know.
Are you aware that notification was required under the loan agreement?
No, I was not.
Do you know if anyone from City Center notified Fifth Third Bank when the complaint was filed?
I do not.
Do you know whether or not that was an obligation under the construction loan agreement?
I do not.
If it were an obligation under the construction loan agreement, as the representative of City Center, do you agree that it should have been provided to Fifth Third Bank?
If that was in the document, I guess I would have to say yes.
And would the same hold true of the mechanics lien filed in May before the final two draws?
If that's in the document, I would assume it would be yes.
No further questions.
The mechanics lien in May, is that the time when you were struggling to draw 6 with Ms. Steiger?
Yes.
Now, the lien is filed here in Crown Point, in the courthouse. Is that your understanding?
I would assume yes.
Who is your understanding learned of the lien first? Fifth Third or City Center?
My understanding, Fifth Third. First.
Did you have someone from Hawk go to Tycor for each draw with your Hawk's lien waiver?
Yes.
And each sub would do the same thing?
Yes.
There was a question asked about who looks at the statements, the sworn statements, to verify them after Mary types in the numbers.
Yes.
Could you explain again the procedure that you and Mr. Plank used for him to sign these documents?
I would review all the invoices and go to the project to verify that that's what was being paid. Give those numbers to Mary. Mary would enter them, Mr. Plank would see it, and we would send them off to Fifth Third.
I'm talking about afterwards. You talked about a desk you would sit at?
Yes. Yes. We would get the sworn statements that would have needed to be signed. I would sometimes stamp them and then have them signed, sometimes sign them and stamp, and then we would ship them off.
Were there, in fact, instances where you stamped them and handed it to him, he reviewed them and said, wait a minute,
Yes.
I'm not satisfied with that one yet?
Yes.
So did Mr. Plank review each of the statements after they were typed in?
Yes.
There was a question asked about why didn't you do more? And I stopped asking you about what City Center did after November 17, 2006, when you got the default notice. Did City Center stop working at that point?
A lot of the subs did.
The subs wouldn't work, but did City Center stop?
No, City Center.
Did City Center continue to try and get work done?
Yes.
Would anybody extend credit to City Center?
No.
If you needed to buy a brick, did you have to pay cash for it?
Yes.
Now, normally they'd ship you a load and send you a bill.
Yes.
Did City Center continue to do that?
Yes.
Pay cash and get materials?
Yes.
And how long did City Center continue to work after November 17, 2006?
Another 3 to 4 months.
As long as Mr. Plank had possession of City Center, did you continue to work?
Yes.
At some point, did City Center lose possession of the complex?
Yes.
City Center, the LLC, lost possession of the complex.
Yes.
And did you fight that?
Yes.
Did you try and keep it?
Yes.
And you lost that battle?
Yes.
Did you keep working up until the day that you lost that battle?
Yes.
No further questions.
You lost that battle because the judge ordered foreclosure on it, didn't you?
Objection calls for legal conclusion.
We asked the court to take judicial notice. Well, specific fact.
Misstates the facts, and a receiver was appointed.
Let me withdraw and ask another matter. You lost possession because the court ordered a receiver to take possession of that property, isn't that correct?
I believe that's correct.
And then, what is the basis of your understanding that Fifth Third learned of the lien before City Center did?
I would assume since they were the ones.
I don't want your assumptions. I want to know what you know specifically, personal, first-hand knowledge. What you know that makes you say that Fifth Third learned about the lien before City Center.
I had none.
Why didn't City Center merely insert equity into building number 2 to keep construction going, as they were required to do under the loan agreement?
I wasn't in charge of that.
No further questions.
Anything else, Mr. B?
Sure, did City Center continue to put equity in for the months that followed?
Yes.
And did City Center continue to buy materials,
Yes.
continue to do work?
Yes.
Now, was City Center able to get the Building 6 completely enclosed to a vanilla box?
Yes.
Building 6, the restaurant building, was that completely enclosed to a vanilla box?
Not completely, no.
Did it have all of the windows in?
No.
Did it have all of the roof on?
No.
Did City Center put in as much money as it could to get that done?
Yes.
But was the building left exposed to the elements?
Yes.
And did it start to deteriorate?
Yes.
Did the bank do anything to help even close up the building?
No.
So was the building sitting out there deteriorating?
Yes.
Is that why a receiver was appointed?
I believe so, yes.
That's all the questions I have.
Well, wasn't it Fifth Third Bank that funded the construction to enclose that building number 6?
Not to us, I don't know.
You don't know?
We were not paid to enclose it, we didn't enclose that building.
Someone did, didn't they?
Somebody did, yes.
And who paid for it?
I don't know.
Well, you did. I thought you just testified that Hawk did. Or City Center.
It's not.
You didn't testify to that?
No.
Objection, he's misstating the witness's testimony.
How did it get enclosed, building number 6?
I don't know, we didn't do it. Somebody else did it.
But it did get enclosed and protected, correct?
It got enclosed.
No further questions.
So Fifth Third wouldn't pay City Center to close the building, but they paid somebody else to do it?
Correct.
And how much later did they pay somebody else to do it?
Well, it was relatively soon when winter came.
Was it that same year or was it the next year?
I don't remember.
Let me ask this, was there deterioration that occurred to the building?
Yes.
What kind of deterioration had occurred?
Some of the block froze and broke because it had gotten water in it. Some of the concrete broke because of water and freezing.
How about the door frames? Do you have any damage to them?
Rusted.
So after all that had happened, the Fifth Third paid somebody else to enclose it.
Yes.
Could all of that have been prevented if Fifth Third would have paid City Center?
Yes.
No further questions.
You think perhaps Fifth Third didn't trust City Center or Hawk to do anything further on that job? That's why they didn't give them any more money.
Cause
I
for
don't know what they should
speculation.
have been thinking.
No further questions.
Thank you. Let's take a short recess now.